And we are back here after this keynote. We saw Michael Dell, we saw JP Morgan, Lowe's, and of course, Jensen Huang. We are the 6-5, and we are on the road here at Dell Technologies World 2025. Daniel, so how about that keynote?
Yeah, it was great to hear from Michael. First of all, always love, after all these years, founder, CEO, all the energy comes on stage. You can just tell the passion is still there. It's brighter, it's bigger than ever.
Yeah.
And Pat, we started this morning talking to Services President Doug Schmidt. He was talking about customer zero. Well, it wasn't just customer zero, but it was all about the customer. And it was a great story how he started up there on the stage.
Yeah, and if I could characterize what I heard is making enterprise AI real. Because let's face it, the last 2 years, enterprise AI has really been about hyperscalers. It's about enabling models, but now this gear starts to be clicking in. And we did hear from JP Morgan and from Lowe's about how they are using Dell to implement and execute on AI. And, you know, on the Michael comment, you know, what I love too is not only is he Michael Dell, and he talked big picture, but he also talked micronically about rack-mounted servers with adoration and love. And you know, I'm a recovering product person, and I do appreciate of his grasp of the details and the love of a product. And I do think that that is one very successful characteristic of high-tech CEOs these days.
Yeah, the passion, he was exuding passion, interest, care, empathy for the customer. You know, for instance, listening to Lowe's get up there and talk about what they're doing. You know, you and me, we experience these kinds of things every day.
Right.
You know, how does AI take us from the shopping journey, the physical journey, the online journey that we've experienced over all these years, and how does it transcend in the AI era? Because, you know, when you're walking into a store, it used to be, you know, you're hustling down an aisle, you're trying to find somebody, and then, you know, the technology, wayfinding, mobile devices, Wi-Fi in the stores, connectivity, and now AI, it puts you in a situation where now you're walking and you're working pervasively with data, with information, finding what you need quicker, and maybe finding what you didn't think you need, you know, more immediately because the application understands you.
Yeah, so let's jump into the many announcements that we saw on there right now. So first and foremost, the Dell AI factory is not just the data center. Listen, the AI data center is important, but it is the data center, it's the enterprise edge, and it's client PCs. And we saw new solutions and offerings from every one of those. And first and foremost, interesting, we saw, no surprise to anybody, enhancements to the AI NVIDIA AI Factory 2.0. I am so glad that they added a 2.0 because they announced this last year with Jensen was on stage, and I know I saw a lot of descriptions of enhancements, but they flag planted this is 2.0, and it wasn't just a bunch of architecture and messaging. There were new capabilities everywhere, and whether that was new software enhancements, whether that was Blackwell coming in on the infrastructure side, we saw new quantum-based switches that came in from NVIDIA as well.
Yeah, you know, we were super focused on large data center deployments, or like what Jensen likes to call the AI factories, right? These aren't data centers, these are AI factories.
Yes.
But having said that, it does have to scale down, and it has to scale out to enterprises. So some of these new servers, for instance, very focused on tuning and inference, right? Something that an enterprise can use when they're taking a small customized model for a very specific use case, and they're looking to put the hardware on-prem.
Yeah.
You know, I listened to a stat last week, something like 99% of enterprise data has not touched AI yet. So think about that statistic now, and think about the complexity of the enterprise, how data actually exists. Some is in the cloud, some is in the on-prem data center, on-premises data center, some is at the edge.
Yes.
How do we get all that data, give enough compute power, and that's where not only these smaller servers come into play, Pat, but it's also where these on-device opportunities come into play. And it's also super important. I know we have gotten away a little bit from talking about energy efficiency, but let's call it what it is. Energy is the rate limiter. So more efficient implementations of AI at the edge, for instance, can be a real help in moving things forward.
Yeah, one of the provocative things that Michael said on stage was something that I think we've talked about a lot, Daniel, and that's that 75% of the data is created in the enterprise edge. And he said the provocative part, former was fact, but the provocative part is essentially was that the action's going to take place on-prem. We didn't do the research, but he issued a piece of research that said 75% of CIOs say they're going to move their AI workloads on-prem. It made sense. Not only did we see new NVIDIA optimized RTX 60 or 6,000 cards that are more efficient for the enterprise based on Blackwell, but AMD got in on the party here, and so did Intel. There's an AI factory now for AMD, and there's an AI factory for Intel. We were talking about this last year. Hey, what about these folks? But they have delivered. One of the more surprising announcements, though, to me, ironically, was for client computing. Dell announced a special on-device AI with an actual Qualcomm AI 100 card that delivers pretty much unprecedented NPU power. And it's not that the GPU and the NPU, they have the same levels of performance. It's just the NPU does these tasks so much more lower power.
Yeah.
And very similar to Intel Gaudi in the data center. So that I did not expect, but boom, here it is.
Well, I think partnerships are very important, and I think obviously NVIDIA was first out of the gate, moved very, very quickly, but a lot of Dell's provenance has been built on having broader partnerships, bringing customers to where the partners' opportunities are, not necessarily limiting choice. It is up to Dell, and I do believe these companies like Dell need to be involved in selecting leadership, promoting the parts that they think are going to be most successful, but they also need to bring diversity. You and I talk a lot about silicon diversity. What you just talked about is, hey, AMD has some very competitive parts in their MI series. There's some software iterations that need to take place that may, the market would argue, CUDA versus what AMD is doing is not equal yet. But the advancements are happening so fast.
Right.
And then of course we're hearing Qualcomm getting into the game. A lot was mentioned in the Middle East last week, custom CPUs. And I think just yesterday at Computex, when Jensen talked about NVLink Fusion, he's now talking about custom CPUs working with their GPUs. And that would be a great opportunity for Dell, for Qualcomm, for NVIDIA to put it all together.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the big elements of the announcement here was something that we've both talked about, both our firms and us, when generative AI first hit. You and I were, I guess, one of 100 people who attended the big event with OpenAI and Microsoft. What was that, 2.5 years ago?
Yeah.
It seems like forever
Early
ago.
2023.
But the first thing that popped in was, how are the enterprises going to deal with their data? When you're dealing with kind of a world model, you have your data is imperfect, but at least it's on the internet, or you can upload it. With the enterprise, it's completely different. You have so many data silos, and it's not just connecting to the front end or the back end, connecting SAP to Salesforce. You might have 10 different versions of SAP. You might have 150 different CRM systems. But what Dell did here is they brought out a ton of data management offerings, but they also brought out data management services. And this goes back to a conversation that we even had with Doug Schmidt. I think we were in an advisory session where it was a while ago. This is what needs to be done. And to Dell's credit, they listen to their customers and they are delivering just that. If I look at the number one impediment to scaling AI, number 1A and 1B would be data management and the complexity of pulling it together, but also the cost of doing that. And overall, I've seen enough evidence. I mean, haven't looked at all the data here, but it looks like this is where Dell is headed, trying to address those two problems.
We knew this year was going to bring a whole bunch of new solutions focused on data. company's largest estate of data, Pat. It's not the stuff that sits in our structured databases. It's not actually in Oracle or SAP. It's the unstructured data. But having that infrastructure developed in such a way that the compute can access with very low latency, all of that data is really the key ingredient to AI being delivered at scale. So Dell sits in a really good position here, knowing how much lives on-prem, knowing how hybrid is ultimately going to work. There are a number of these kind of neo companies focused on sort of bringing unstructured data and traditional data together and making it more accessible. But Dell's always been a leader in storage. It's had a huge market share there. Storage is evolving to data platform, data management. We see Dell moving in that direction. I would expect Dell to move into that direction. It's going to be beholden on Dell to make sure that the AI factories and the data, of course, making it all secure, private, compliant, sovereign. I could run the list, Pat, but there's a lot that needs to be done. But I'm glad to see them moving in the direction of data platform, because that is such a key ingredient. Like you said, 1A and 1B. As long as we have enough power, the next thing is making the data exposed to the compute so it can be accessible, useful, productive, and efficient for businesses.
Yeah, it was hard not to notice the neo-cloud conversation that Michael had on stage. He cited XAI and CoreWeave, both that he supplies infrastructure for, and the thought process is, hey, we can do this for these neo-clouds. We have the technology, we have the capabilities. We have the capability to now do this for the enterprise. I want to swivel to partners, right? Dell is not just doing this on their own or alone, right? We saw people who you might expect, people like Meta with their models and their entire full stack, Mistral with their models as well. Cohere is becoming a go-to source for enterprises related to model management. And then finally, Google Gemini. You and I were both at Google Cloud Next many moons ago, I think a month ago, here, where Google had announced that you can run leading edge Gemini models and AI Vertex end-to-end on Dell enterprise servers. And it's funny, there's, I'll call them sleepers, which are announcements that didn't get a lot of discussion and a lot of, I'll say, press excitement, but what I think are some of the more exciting things, because they're so different with what most people are thinking.
Yeah, I think the overall partnerships, one thing Dell isn't trying to proclaim that it's doing is building large language models. Now, of course, I do expect over time they will be more and more helping, supporting the development, tuning of models. Some of the services, consulting that it can do will be helping companies extract more value, getting narrower. I see all the sort of enterprise companies moving a bit in that direction, but these partnerships are really critical. Companies are going to have too much choice, too much disparity, too much difficulty in terms of understanding, and how many partners can they have?
Right.
So I like what you mentioned. I mean, I really thought Google was out in front with what it was thinking about, saying, hey, we'll put Gemini on-prem securely, basically in an enclave.
Right.
In a secure enclave. I mean, that was really, really forward thinking. There's a lot of people out there that are saying, OpenAI is too far ahead and Google will never catch up. I steadfastly disagree with that. Just look across my X feed, you will see me beating that drum. But I think they deeply can connect in instances like this, and then of course embedding the experiences across the entire Google platform. But I think Dell's thinking here, they're partnering very strategically here. So there's a lot of positives that have come out of this keynote today, Pat. Very encouraging for Dell, for Dell's partners, Dell's customers. And like I said, I always like when it comes back to what customers are doing. We all want to know, are people executing? Are companies being profitable and making money from this? Is AI living up to the hype?
Yeah, it's interesting. We seem to be also on deployment models. I think we've got a collision course here between the hyperscalers are clearly saying you can only do this in the cloud. You need to move the data in the cloud to make this work. And on the other hand, Michael got up and told a different story. And I think that we're going to hear a different story as well.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, and of course we will be talking to Michael here on Dell TV on the 6.5 and very soon.
In fact, Michael is going to be our next guest here, but we're going to go to a breakout there. Thanks for tuning in. We are the 6.5 here at Dell Technology World 2025 on Dell TV.